what's going on, only as far as you can study well for it. And then there's the end of the wave when the test is complete. Now, depending on whether or not you get a good grade or a bad grade, that can trigger another emotional wave. And if you haven't left behind the test anxiety itself, you won't be able to embrace maybe it's a bad grade. There's disappointment there. And you get the stacking effect that I talk about. So that's a very long buildup. That could be several weeks from the time you learn about the test to the time you take the test, receive the grade, and move on. Same wave, just longer duration, right? It's not a few seconds anymore. The few seconds would apply to the announcement of the test, taking the test itself, that kind of thing. But then we have bigger, longer seasons of turbulence. Like right now, my wife and I are, we've got a 4 and a 2-year-old. Sleep is at a premium. Not everybody sleeps through the night. And this is a long season. We work a lot. We only get 1 day a week as parents to be with our children as a family, and that's Saturdays. The other days of the week, one or the other of us is watching them while the other works, or we're both working and my parents are watching them. This is a long season of turbulence that's distressing, and we have to have a perspective enough to say, hey, this wave will also crest. We will get through it. And we don't know when that is, which is equally distressing because there's uncertainty involved, right? But the same wave applies. So here's what I'm thinking, and this is what I wanted to share with you guys. If we can learn that we can tolerate distress waves, whether they be brief for a few seconds, as the environment stimulates the brain, they're a little bit longer, like maybe preparing for a test or a job change or just driving to work. That's, that could be 20 minutes to 2 hours long, and there's lots of distress involved there. But then you get to work, it's unloaded again, and then you start the work day. Or it's many months or even years of distress. If you can get through one tiny wave, marker being thrown at you, fly buzzing around your ear, fire alarm going off, if you can get through one wave and know that the earth won't spin off its axis simply because you were pushed into distress and you had to tolerate it, then you can start to recognize other types of waves. And instead of locking your eyes on the immediate distress in front of you, you can lock your eyes on the end of it, because all waves end, all of them. Some may be longer than others, some may be bigger than others, but they all end. And if we can have the faith that the waves will end, we don't have to lose our minds in the middle of it and reach for something like suicide to punch out. We can know internally that it's tolerable. We don't have to dive into a bottle and escape our emotional functioning by drowning it in alcohol. We don't have to cover it up with drugs. We don't have to replace it with violence or anger. More importantly, in the tiny little episodes of what happens every day and the building up from waking up in the morning with a headache to getting to the car, we don't have to let that stuff build, because those are little microwaves, if you will, in and of themselves. And if we tolerate one, we can tolerate the next, we can tolerate the next, and we can appreciate life moment by moment instead of hanging on to certain things or trying to bury them or push them aside, and then it allows the stacking. I know for me personally in my life, noticing when I'm in a distress wave is absolutely critical to how I interact with other people. I can cut people short at work. I cannot tolerate folks super well. I can become terse. I can become edgy. I can yell at my children. I can snap. And that's all things that I don't want to do. Because I'm preaching peace and compassion and understanding and tolerance and appreciation, right? So I have to recognize in myself when I'm feeling a wave, readjust my eyes from being in the wave to the end of the wave, and just live there. I can anticipate the end of it even while I'm in the middle of it, which then helps me regulate my own emotional functioning. I think I've said about enough as I want to say on this topic. I really hope this helps for you. If you want to reach out, give me some feedback, info@nogginnotes.com, info@zephyr.wellness.org. If you stuck with me long enough to the very end there, you heard me tie it together with the suicidal stuff. But I want you to really entertain the idea that all things are temporary, and that's not to increase anxiety in people's lives where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die someday. Well, yes, we all will die someday, but know that the things in your life are temporary so that you can hold them loosely and deal with them appropriately, so that you can enjoy life fully, for all its ups and downs, for all its trials and tribulations, for all its anxieties and depressive states, and all the sad and the happy that come along with it. Because that's truly what living is about. We don't want to avoid it. We want to embrace it fully and know that it will all end, including the great and the terrible. So I hope this does something for you. I hope it helps. As always, share this around. Don't be a stranger. Reach out to us, like I said, and wish you all great mental wellness. Goodbye.